Hi, I'm Saphia Akbari and I'm the recruitment manager here at the School of Management. I have been asked to do a quick video on my experience with grad schemes and applications, so I'm just going to give you my experience very quickly. I did my BSc Business Management here, then I did a Masters in Marketing, and by the time I got round to start applying for jobs, I noticed on the Prospect website that I had basically missed a lot of the grad scheme applications. So first and foremost, I'd say be organised and don't do that. What happens is you get left with grad schemes that perhaps aren't the ones that you want to apply for, and then you apply for them anyway, which is what I did. By no means are they not good grad schemes, but they weren't perhaps the ones for me. So I applied for Lidl, Morrisons and Marks and Spencer's, but I got through to Lidl and Morrisons second or third stage. So I decided not to go ahead with the Lidl assessment centre, but for Morrisons I can tell you my experience with that. So this was quite a while ago, but I remember having to complete a short application form online for Morrisons. I then had to do aptitude tests in maths and English. What I would say is make sure you practice before you do them. There's no way I would have passed it if I'd just done it on first attempt. You know, I did spend a couple of hours just doing practice runs just to get you up to speed with the types of calculations that you're going to be doing and things like that. And then after that, I was invited to do an online video interview. I actually got that invite when I was on holiday, so I had to find like an internet cafe. I didn't have any appropriate clothing, but I did the interview anyway, and the feedback that I got when I actually went to the next stage was that I came across really well, that I was really honest and they could see my personality. Maybe that's because I panicked and sort of said on the video, sorry I haven't got a suit on, it's because I'm on holiday. So be yourself, I think, is probably some feedback that I've got there, and also don't think that you can't do it just because you're not perhaps in your comfort zone of home or have the right clothing. You know, just go for it, do what you can. So I got past that stage, and then I was invited to an assessment centre in Birmingham. So luckily for me, I had a friend in Birmingham and I went to stay with them the night before, which meant that I was a bit more relaxed. I had a bit more time to actually get to the interview, and I just got there by train. So a bit of advice, get there in plenty of time. You don't want to be the last person walking in. I had a one-on-one interview that I definitely remember, and in that I was kind of in a small room with one of the senior kind of HR people in the company, and I was asked about a scenario, and that scenario was that I was working for the company. I had to go on a last-minute business trip, then I was going to miss my friend's birthday, and I didn't have my passport. There was all these things they were throwing at you, and they basically wanted me to tell them the steps that I was going to take. So essentially I decided that I was going to go on the business trip, you know, send a present to the friend in a taxi, but as I'm telling the woman all of the answers, they're throwing new bits of information at you, like, right, well, you haven't got any jabs and you can't get into this country without this certificate. And essentially it's to see how you react to that kind of high pressure environment, and if you can think of the small details on your feet and quite quickly, which you'd have to do in business. Looking for things like priority, your commitment levels, and so forth. The next thing I had to do then was like a group activity, and I had feedback from that session that I had been quite a leader, in that I was sort of saying, right, this is how much we've got left, this is how much time we've got, but I was allowing people to speak. So just bear in mind when you're going through those types of activities, what kind of behaviours do you think they want you to show? Check yourself and make sure that you're not being either overbearing or not speaking up for yourself. 2 days after that, I had the phone call to say that I had the job. So essentially retail wasn't for me. So as I said at the beginning, I applied for these grad schemes and perhaps they weren't really what I really wanted to do. So I would definitely think about what you're going to apply for before you do. Don't just apply for any old grad scheme. You know, they are all good in different ways, but if you're not passionate about it, you can end up in a job that actually you're not really going to enjoy. And although it pays the bills, you're not going to get much fulfillment out of that. So that's my very brief experience. I hope that was helpful. Cheers.